What's up? What's up? How y'all doing, family? What's up? What's going on? Yo, what's going on? What? What's up, family? How y'all doing? What's going on? Islam, family, how y'all doing? Islam, what's up? What's up? What's up, family? How y'all doing? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on? Look, like, I got something to tell y'all. We finally here. So right now, I did. Okay, so let me explain to you guys how it worked. So the first thing I was teaching last year was I was teaching you guys how to report credit, right? Because a lot of people was like, man, it's so many ways to build my credit, but people don't know actually how to report credit. And when you report credit, I'm not talking about solely for you, but let's just say if you want to be a business or a business owner or whatever the case might be, I was teaching people how to report credit. Now, it was two factors that I was missing that when I talked to the manager at Equifax, who actually approved the data furnishing, he told me it was three things that I was missing. So by him telling me it was three things that I was missing to finalize for credit reporting, I had to take that into consideration. And so with that being said, the next thing I had to do was handle that, like, get the website, get the physical business location, get the terms and agreements and everything like that, right? So with that being said, now everything is on the up and up. So I just hired a company to finalize the website. Then the second thing I had to do was I got to go ahead and, of course, I got to get the software. And then, I get the terms and agreements. And that's when I'm going to take off. That's when all of you guys who got like, CPN numbers or EIN numbers, and if you guys want me to report, I got you. But it's going to be a website. It's going to be a full setup. Because that's one thing I try to explain. Like, you want to structure the business as perfect as possible. So when you're trying to build it, like, build business credentials or get business credit, you won't have no problem at all. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, right now, we're in a position right now that we're gonna be reporting data to all three credit bureaus, but it's a certain way you have to have your site because you just can't make a site to say, hey, I'm just reporting credit and that's what it is. No, because the credit bureau is gonna reject you. So it took me a long time to find my business model because I didn't know how I was gonna appropriate it because when I come to them, I gotta come different from what I do through the back door. So what I do through the back door, like, that's different versus I have to at least get inside. You get what I'm saying? So, man, it's just a lot with that. No, you cannot report credit if your business is at home or a home office or anything like that. They're gonna reject you because you gotta actually have it in the corporate office. Now, you guys know you can find a corporate office in your local city and find any place or building or anything like that, and you can use that as your actual physical business location. That's why it's best to always structure your business because once the company become very structured, where you have a company number, you have a business email, you actually got a real physical business location. Anytime you run credit apps and they see that, a lot of banks will take you more serious versus if you just got a business at home and you just say, hey, this is an LLC, they're gonna look at you like a small company because it's the structure that matters when dealing with business credit because you can only get more credit when the structure is correct. That's how a lot of people can go into a dealership and grab any car they want because their business credentials is all together. And that's what we want to tap into. You want to make sure your business's credentials is always together. You want to make sure that your company is structured perfectly so you won't have no issues. Thank you, bro. Thank you, family. Thank y'all. Thank you. So, yeah, fam, no, virtual address won't work because Equifax actually would come down to your business location just to see and verify the company to see if it's an actual business. Yep. They're going to come down there to see. But, y'all, I got a couple videos that's about to be dropping real soon, family. So, my next video going to be about, how to buy a gun as a national. It's going to be about how to prove your SSN, because I've been trying to get those videos out the way. I just about to do it, but my computer died and everything. So look out for those videos. Those gonna be out on the way and everything like that. And also, I'm gonna get a website so you guys can come on there if you want any of my services. It's gonna be right on the website. It's gonna be right there. Whatever you're trying to get, whether you want to change your status via passport, whether you want to get out of contracts with the state. I got one of my students, right? So he just called me a while ago, like a couple minutes ago. He was like, "Hey, bro, I just got arrested for a gun." So I'm like, "Okay, explain." Now he a brand new student. He's not like I've been working with him or anything like that. But he actually just got the passport process. He didn't get how to get out of contracts. So he got car accident, whatever the case might be. So they ended up finding a gun on him. So he like, "Man, I didn't give him none of my information. How did they find out?" And I said, "Hold on. You gave them an address?" He said, "No." I said, "Did you go to the hospital?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "What did they ask you?" He said, "They tried to take down my information, but I listened to your video. I never gave them my address or nothing." And so I told him, I said, "Hold on. You drove to the other state, right?" He said, "Yeah." And I said, "What state plate? What plate did you have on your vehicle?" He said, "I got my state plates on." And I said, "That's how they gain jurisdiction." He said, "What?" And I said, "When police run you and scan your plates, your driver's license information, your vehicle registration, your address, all that stuff actually on the state plate. And they took his debit card from him since he don't have an ID, and they used that to verify and match up, and it matched up with the plate number. So therefore, they had jurisdiction. And it's something so small, and it was easy for me to identify the jurisdiction. It's very easy for me to identify. If a person tell me right now I got locked up, I'm going to say, "You gave them jurisdiction." He going to say, "How? Show me." And then I'm going to ask him so many questions, and then I'm going to discover the jurisdiction myself. It's really the language. Many of us don't understand the language that the court system uses. So anytime that we deal with law enforcement, we might not understand or interpret the certain statutes. Like I mentioned this before, but the language is very important to understand. So minimum contacts, you have to understand what minimum contacts is. Because by saying that, a person will interpret minimum contacts mean if he just get in contact with me. Or some people would think, hey, minimum contacts mean if the police, if I'm driving in a county that they are in. No. Or some people would think a contractual waiver. They don't know what a contractual waiver in order to gain personal jurisdiction is. And people don't know that. That's when you confess jurisdiction. That's when you say out your mouth, "Yes, I live here," or "I reside here," and that's a contractual waiver. But people not up to game with that. Or people dealing with just anything. Jurisdiction is very important to understand. But you need to understand the language and how the law is explaining it. And some people say, "Man, what books you read?" I don't read the books. If there's no book on planet Earth that will tell you what a contractual waiver in order to gain personal jurisdiction is in detail, nobody gonna explain that. Or another person will say, "What is all of your contracts with the state?" What is actual minimum contacts? Not the professional word will say, "Minimum contacts is when the state asserts your personal jurisdiction." That's not giving you clarity. You get what I'm saying? So you still want clarity on what minimum contacts actually is. So how can I avoid the trap? And so I came out to explain what minimum contacts is. Minimum contacts is your connections with the state. That's what the state said, right? But let's get more specific on what it means to have minimum contacts. So minimum contacts places an individual as a resident of a state. Being a resident of a state, therefore, subject you to the rules and regulations of that state, and it also subject you to rules and regulations of any state within the United States. Therefore, having any identification document such as an ID, state driver's license, or car registration will imply a specific contract to pretty much claiming that you are subject to the jurisdiction thereof, which would be the statutory jurisdiction. So that license, that registration, that car insurance, or that state ID is all evidence and proof of residency. And by claiming to be a resident or have residency in the state, is what gives the court and also the police minimum contacts in order to make the arrest. So when people understand, and that's my personal breakdown of it. It's not what the law says because the law doesn't say that. The law doesn't say that at all. So you can get the most mad scientists who know law or who know the judicial branches of government, but nobody really understand or interpret minimum contacts, and no one can tell you minimum contacts is clear as day. Because once people say that, then you will know the trick is over. You're like, what the fuck? That's minimum contacts? Like, yes. And you're like, wow. Like, why am I thinking minimum contacts? I'm looking over here, I'm looking over there, and the whole time minimum contacts is just my connection with the state, which would mean I would have to voluntarily enter into agreement or a contract as proof of residency and will be a subject to the statutory jurisdiction. And it doesn't matter where you take your state ID, whether you be from Illinois and you go to California, whether you be from California, you go to Illinois. What it does is that will give the courts in California minimum contacts because they can gain what is called territorial jurisdiction. Territorial jurisdiction is also a part of minimum contacts, is when you reside anywhere within the federal territories of the District of Columbia, aka the United States. Because if I'm in California and I say I live in the Republic of California or California Republic, that's not minimum contacts. Minimum contacts would say I live 408 West Hamburger Street, California Drive, Los Angeles, California. Now that will be a fictitious territory. So now they pull jurisdiction from that aspect of it. So really understanding the language is what really will help you. And the way I found out about the language, right? Because I personally did research myself. Now I went to the state statutes, and I just said anything. I said, how does the state gain jurisdiction over persons? And so it was a big list. It said acts subjecting persons to the jurisdiction of the court. If he or she is a natural person, or I mean, whether he or she is a natural person, he or she is subject to all the following rules and regulations that the law prescribes if you perform any of these following acts. If you have, or, if you have any lien, if you have a mortgage lien or a lien on any real property within the state, you subject yourself to the jurisdiction. Because why would having a mortgage will subject you to the jurisdiction? So when a person first get a home, they are required to take the deed down to the office of the office of deeds, right? So once you register the home with the county, therefore minimum contacts has already been established. Jurisdiction, which will be RAM jurisdiction, will be established, which is a basis of jurisdiction. You get what I'm saying? So they don't tell you all of it. So they just say if you have a mortgage lien, but who can interpret the fact that if you register your home, you gave them RAM jurisdiction? So that's when you go over to RAM jurisdiction. When the state can claim a jurisdiction over any real property. So claiming in a certain jurisdiction or any real property, how can the state make a claim? How can the state make a claim against your real property? It's because it is registered to the state, dummy. You feel what I'm saying? And that's why I told myself, I'm like, damn. I'm like, what? Like, really? And so you really look at police protocols. You really look at how police interact with the police. So you'll understand that every police got a protocol, right? So when they first pull you over, they don't know who you are. You can be a stranger, you can be whatever. Now, if they read your plate, they already know who you are. But if you drive around with a private plate, they're trying to discover who you are. Now, you could be an oxymoron sovereign citizen and say, hey, sir, what your name is? Get pulled out the car, because now they can make the assumption that you are a citizen, right? But if they came, you say, hey, sir, how you doing? I'm Taquan Williams. How may I help you? Sir, do you have any driver's license in the state? No, sir, I do not. He said, okay, what's your name? I said, my name is Taquan Williams. What's your date of birth? Woo, woo. Tell him my date of birth. He'd be like, okay, what's your address, sir? I said, I live in the United States of America Republic. Or if I'm in a specific state, I can say, hey, I'm in the Illinois Republic. I'm in the Republic of Illinois. Okay, sir, we can't use that address, but give me one moment. They go back, check the Secretary of State file. They check the Secretary of State file, see if they have no information on me, right? Now they say, okay, we don't have minimum contacts. How can we establish jurisdiction? They call their sergeants. The sergeants say the only way we can establish jurisdiction, we have to get his address. Now the police is dumbfounded. They don't know nothing about this, right? Because it's normal protocol. What happens if they don't get the address? I'm just saying what doesn't happen. Then they're going to say the prosecutor couldn't prosecute the case because without an address, there's no proof of jurisdiction. So now the person is actually operating outside of our jurisdiction and we can't claim minimum contacts. So the crime is not even there yet, right? The crime is when they gain jurisdiction. That's when subject matter come in, right? So the subject matter be, I got the brick of cocaine. Let's just say this. I have a brick of cocaine inside of my seat. Let's just say if I did, right? So that would be the subject matter. Now, I would be the person that they need to gain minimum contacts. So once they get minimum contacts, then we can talk about the cocaine. But we can't talk about the cocaine until we get minimum contacts. Why you think this? I see many people get pulled over. The guy had drugs in the car. Now, the police didn't smell the drugs because the drugs that they found was heroin, right? But they end up smelling a marijuana odor, right? Police stopped him. They said, hey, sir, where you heading from? He said, hey, I'm coming from work. He had a uniform on and everything, right? So the police was like, okay, can I get your license? They got his license. So he's sitting down in the car waiting. So minutes go past, police got jurisdiction. He said, is this your car? He like, no, man, it's my girl car. He said, yeah, man, my buddy smell weed. So the police didn't ask him. He didn't say he smelled weed when he first stopped. You get what I'm saying? So people not even putting two to two together. Because you're like, hold on, if you walked up to my car, so when you walked up, you should supposed to say, man, I smell weed, man. You smoking weed? No, because that's not the protocol. The protocol is we have to establish jurisdiction upon every stop. So once they get to the stop, and once they establish jurisdiction, now they meet minimum contacts. Now they go to the next level. What would that be? That would be the subject matter. The subject matter would be the weed. Getting jurisdiction would be minimum contacts. So it's two parts of jurisdictions: personam jurisdiction, which would be minimum contacts, and the subject matter jurisdiction, which would be the actual subject matter that they're talking about. So without getting that information from him based upon a personam jurisdiction, he pretty much removes himself from there. So searches and seizures could not be performed. Being arrested couldn't be performed. Taking him in couldn't be performed, or taking him to the station or to identify him couldn't be performed. Now, the only way they can take you to the station if you don't say anything at all, because now they can make the presumption that you are a fugitive, that you are an immigrant, or anything like that. Now, the Secretary of State does have your old files, right? It doesn't disappear. But if it's a surrendered document, there's no evidence or proof of minimum contacts. But it is proof that you was born here in America, right? But there's no evidence of minimum contacts, which is required per the Constitution, right? Per the Constitution. So without establishing that, a case cannot move forward. So the Constitution doesn't matter. When a person thank you, Hood Farmer, I really appreciate that, family. So the Constitution at that moment does not matter. You know how a lot of people would be on the side of the road, it's my constitutional right to travel. I can travel all I want. They already established personam jurisdiction. So whatever constitutional claims you make, it doesn't matter. Because constitutional claims matters when minimum contacts is not met. So without contracts with the state and you really a private man, then the Constitution applies to you. But now you have the federal side, which will be the statutory jurisdiction, once they meet the basis of minimum contacts. Now, the police don't know nothing about this. It's just standard protocol. And even the prosecutor, whoever they send the information over to, is going to ask them the same thing. Did you get any information from him personally? Did he provide an address? Did he provide his social security number? They're like, no, he didn't. So we cannot establish personal jurisdiction. So what can we do? You have to get him to confess, threaten him that we will lock him up, threaten him that he can possibly go to jail, threaten him that it can be additional charges. So like me, when I got pulled over, when he told me, hey, it's illegal to provide false information to the police, when I told him I live in the United States of America Republic, how it would have been, I would have said, hey, man, I live on Grove Street. in Oakland, California, you ever play Grand Theft Auto? Okay, so let's just say if I live on Grove Street and I actually live in a fictitious jurisdiction. Now he would have made the arrest, he would have searched the vehicle, and on top of that, he would have said you lied to law enforcement, which would be an obstruction of justice. And all of those charges would be added because now the subject matter can be taken care of because we now establish personam jurisdiction. So that's what you gotta understand when you dealing with jurisdiction. And I know I switched the whole thing over, but me reporting credit, that's gonna go down. You already know. I just wanted to tell you guys that it's gonna go down real soon, ASAP. That's what I've been distracted doing. But let's get back to it. So you need to understand the language. And I'm actually gonna have a video coming out to understand the language and give y'all detail on what you need to do. The details is this the contract. So these would be the 4 contracts: the registration, the ID, state driver's license, voter registration. Boom, that's the contracts. All 4 of those is what is required in order to get the minimum contact. One of those which is required. Not all of those, one of those. Let me rephrase what I just said. So one of those is required to meet the burden of minimum contacts. They can't meet the burden of minimum contacts, which one of those, he go to other form, a contractual waiver in order to gain personal jurisdiction. So in my case, when the police pulled me over and I didn't give him an address, when he kept asking me for an address, but he gave me an old address that I never lived there in a long time, right? Why did he use that? Because he couldn't, because that goes against protocol. What he was trying to do, he was trying to establish jurisdiction right there. Because you can't establish jurisdiction just by an old address, because that's not how you properly do it. You actually have to get me to confess. That's why he wanted the contractual waiver. You don't think he had the old address 30, 40 minutes ago? No. Because he needed to establish jurisdiction. Because half it would have been I gave him an address, it wouldn't be no damn ticket. It would be handcuffs and going to jail. It wouldn't been no tickets. So I just need you guys to understand the language and understanding minimum contacts and understanding what contracts they have on you, and you need to know how to protect yourself against all of this. We don't need prison reform. We need education. I hear a lot of people holler, especially people of color, oh, prison, we need prison reform. Like my son, he was just arrested for a bag of marijuana. You got to understand what's going on. Once you understand what's going on, then, but I digress. Everybody can't understand this information. They can't. Because if everybody knew what was going on, we wouldn't have no banks, we wouldn't have no unlimited credit, we wouldn't have nothing. America go right back to a republic. So I'm thinking, I be thinking to myself, like, man, do I really want everybody to know this? Just imagine if half the USA knew this. It wouldn't be a good banking system no more. Because now the banks would be scared. They're like, everybody walking around with a gun, everybody can do what they want to do. And it's like, remember, there's no jails in the United States of America. It's only United States jails. That's why you got United States prisons. The United States, everything is controlled and ran by the United States. We don't have a jail no more. So that means all crimes commercial. So if I go out there and shot 10 rounds in the air and they don't meet minimum contact, that person is going home. And I know it sounds like scary or crazy, but honestly, it really is like that. Because we don't have, the United States of America no more. We got the United States. And it's easy to slip out the United States hands once you understand the United States. Yeah. It'd be a bartering system, but man, look, it's so fun being in this system. Like when you know what's going on and you because I get a lot of credit, and on top of getting a lot of credit, I get freedom. I don't want everybody to be free like that. It's like if I wanted everybody to be free, it wouldn't even be fun no more. Like being on the do not detain list, if everybody was on that would be boring. I want to see like you gotta have those small minority. That's why the platform is so small. If I was a rapper, I might have a million views in a day, but this platform is so small. But the people who want to be a part of this, it's like they willing to go over and above for this and beyond, because the information is so secret. Nobody know about this type of stuff. So I know a couple of you guys, if you guys ever seen my video on Facebook, it actually went viral, right? The police stop. So everybody was like, what the fuck? I don't understand. What just happened? They said, so he had no license, no registration, no insurance. How did they just let him go? What he got that's so special? And they like, oh, the sovereign citizen bullshit. I want them to think that, yes, it's sovereign citizen bullshit. Don't pay attention to this. You ain't supposed to pay attention to it. Get your driver's license and registration and keep this banking system going. Because the real people who sovereign, we relaxing, we chilling, enjoying life. So, we want to get cars, unlimited credit. We want to do everything. Why would we want everybody to know what's going on? Because that's when their brains click. So everybody wake up, because everybody got to be robots in this time. And I know it's sad to say, but, and sometimes not bad because everybody can't be self-governing. Everybody can't do what they want to do. So it's best if we get 90% of the world on board with what the government's saying. The government giving government aid. The government is giving them taxes. The government is giving them employment. The government is giving them protection by the police department because they're protecting their corporation. The government is giving them everything. So if the government giving them everything, this must not be a bad thing. It must not be a bad thing. Oh, yep. Expired driver's license is an active contract still. So even if it's expired, it's an active contract. You got to close it out. If you don't close it out, it's over with. You got to close out all of your contract. You got to surrender it because it's a signature that you signing that you voluntarily surrender. That means you're giving up. So you're giving up the privileges and benefits. Because when anything you receive from the state is a privilege or a benefit. But that's really the minimum context. Even if you register your vehicle, I don't care if you put it in the name of a trust. Even though it's separated from your name, they still have jurisdiction over your property. You get what I'm saying? So you will still have to either unregister it. The only way I have a registered vehicle, it'd be under my business, and I would never drive it. I would use it for rental purposes. I would never drive it personally. My vehicle, I drive that privately. But any other vehicle, if it's registered, I'm not even gonna step foot in that vehicle, really. I'm not even gonna touch that vehicle. Me and that vehicle would be 50 miles apart. I don't want nothing that has anything to do with the state. If anything, that's the state vehicle. That's not my vehicle. You can't have two masters. You either choose sovereignty or you choose the CDL. Either one. Pick a side. You think you can do both? Nah. You either could do one. But you still can drive trucks because by you having the skills and the connections, it's nothing to be traveling on the roads yourself. And you can get insurance as a CDL driver. Because if you got all of your information and all of that, you can constantly renew the insurance, and keep dropping your loads. Every time you pull it over, you give them the passport, they're gonna let you go. That 18-wheeler gonna be unregistered. They're gonna let you go every time. Even if you commercial driving, it don't matter. I don't know why people be thinking that. They be like, oh, well, the Constitution said if you can't. No, you can be commercially driving. You still can make money. You don't think I commercially drive every day? I just don't got minimal contacts with the state. I'm not obligated to have minimal contacts with the state. There's no law to state that I have to have minimal contacts with the state. There's no law to say I have to have a driver's license. There's no law that says that. Just how the judge tricked the guy in court and said there's no law to state that when you sign this document that it has to say jurisdiction. There's no law to state that. There's laws to protect them. There's laws to protect me. And as long as I'm operating in private, I'm good. Happy birthday, family. Rebecca, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. If your passport on do not attain less, then how they can establish? The only way they can establish jurisdiction if you give it to them. If you say some shit like what's your address or what's your social, you say something like that, consider yourself locked up. Consider yourself locked up. No, you can put rural free delivery on your international driver's license. Rural free delivery, RURAL space free FREE delivery DELIVERY. Then you put non-domestic in whatever state you live in, and you straight. If anybody want to get in contact with me, look, take this down. 224-463-1848. One more time. 224-463-1848. I'm going to give you guys my list and let you know like what services I offer. Because a lot of you guys just call me and just tell me y'all situations, and I understand. But it's listen, look, I'm gonna give you my services on what I offer, and then if anything fit, you can you follow the instructions from the list. So just request for me to send you my list of everything I offer, and you can pick whichever one you want. So my phone number one more time, y'all. Just 1 second. I'll give it to y'all right now. My phone number is 224-463-1848. Yeah, you can. They don't let y'all surrender y'all driver's license. Woo, that's a real contract right there. That's a forever contract. But I really don't know. I actually heard some situations like that. Like some of y'all states won't allow y'all to cancel out the state ID. Ooh, shit. They want to keep their slaves. They don't want to let their slaves go for nothing. I used a regular state ID, a driver's license. Like I said, I was in Florida when I got my passport done, and I had the police ran my passport directly 3 times in my life. I had the police run it 3 times. All came back as a national. And I had another officer that run it. He actually showed me what was on there. I screenshotted it. And if you guys want to know how to do not detain list and what it looks like, scroll over to my community tab. Scroll down, and you should see black and red, and it's going to say driver's license not found. And on the second slide, it's going to say restricted, do not detain nor arrested. It's going to say the whole thing, So just go over to my community tab. You will see it. Yeah. No, family, that's all. That's all I got to say. Got a lot of more gems coming out. I just been distracted with this report and credit. And, real soon, I'm going to do a live in the office, too, just to show y'all how I set it up. But for the most part, yeah, that's all I had to say. Take down my number, y'all, 224-463-1848. Again, 224-463-1848, y'all. I'm out for right now, y'all. Peace and love. Thank you. And Rebecca, happy birthday to you. How you get it? What do you mean? Yes, sir. All right, family, I'm out. Peace and love.